The Imperial warship Vigilant Spear drifted through the silent void. Its sensors scanned the dark between stars, searching for the faint hum of rebellion. For months, the Empire had ruled this sector without challenge, but that night, a small flicker appeared on their radar. A faint blip at the edge of space. Lieutenant Karos leaned forward, narrowing his eyes at the display. "Captain, we have an anomaly on the radar," he said quietly. The captain turned, his face calm but cautious. "Define anomaly," he replied, voice steady like the hum of the ship's engines. Karos frowned, tapping the console. "It's not responding to our pings. No transponder, no life signs, but it's moving." The crew exchanged glances. Nothing moved out here without the Empire's permission, and yet the signal grew stronger. The blip pulsed like a heartbeat once, twice, then vanished. "Could be a sensor glitch," said Ensign Lyra, forcing a nervous laugh. But her voice trembled. In the cold of space, even ghosts had a way of feeling real. The captain rose from his chair. "Run a full sweep," he ordered. "All frequencies, long-range scan, visual if possible." The Vigilant Spear's sensors flared to life, sending invisible waves across the stars. But the anomaly was gone, only silence answered. Then, just as the crew began to relax, the ship's lights flickered. The navigation screen turned to static, and for one chilling second, every display aboard the Vigilant Spear went dark. "Power fluctuation?" someone whispered, but the captain's instinct screamed otherwise. He had seen battle, storms, ambushes, even supernova shockwaves, but never silence like this. When the lights returned, the radar was blank again. The anomaly had disappeared as if it never existed. But deep in the static, beneath layers of sensor noise, a faint signature lingered, a ghostly echo, shaped like a ship no one recognized. Lyra's eyes widened as she enhanced the signal. "It's human," she said softly, almost in disbelief. The word hung in the air like a curse. Human ships hadn't entered this sector in decades, not since the Empire had crushed Earth's last fleet. The captain's jaw tightened. "Impossible," he whispered, but deep down, he knew the truth that his pride refused to accept. "Humanity always came back. Lock coordinates," he ordered. "We find that ship." Thrusters ignited, and the Vigilant Spear turned toward the edge of the system. Where the radar had first seen the Phantom, the void there seemed darker, deeper, as if the stars themselves avoided that place. Minutes passed. The silence pressed on their chests like a weight. Then the forward cameras caught movement. A shadow, faint, shimmering like heat above desert sands. "There," Karos said, pointing at the screen. "Magnify," the captain commanded. The image sharpened, and the crew gasped. Before them floated a ship, massive and silent, its hull black as the void, but its edges glowed faintly blue. No markings, no signals, no life, and yet it felt alive. The Empire's scanners struggled to read it. Every pulse of data came back scrambled. Then the ship shifted as if it were turning to face them. But no thrusters moved, no energy signatures flared. "Are they scanning us?" Lyra asked. Karos shook his head slowly. "No, Captain. It's just looking." The Vigilant Spear's crew fell silent again. Even the hum of the ship seemed to fade. Then, across the void, a faint whisper echoed through their comms. A single phrase in ancient Terran language, "Remember Earth?" The captain froze. The Empire had destroyed every human archive, erased every name, every planet, every flag, and yet that voice had spoken like a ghost from history. The ghost ship moved again. Its hull shimmered, splitting into 1,000 fragments of light. Then without a sound, it vanished. The radar went blank once more, only silence remained. But everyone aboard the Vigilant Spear knew the truth. They had not seen a glitch. They had seen a warning. And somewhere in the dark, humanity was watching, waiting, and planning its return. The report from the Vigilant Spear reached the Imperial High Command before dawn. Admiral Tareth read it 3 times. Each line colder than the last. An unknown vessel, human origin, vanished without trace. To the Empire, that wasn't just impossible, it was blasphemy. The Empire had built its power on the myth that humanity was extinct. Its leaders told every colony, every soldier, that Earth had burned. But now a ghost ship whispered from the dark, and that whisper threatened to shatter their control. "Bring me the sensor logs," Tareth commanded. Officers hurried across the command hall, boots striking metal floors like thunder. The holographic display flickered to life, showing the strange outline, a ship with no engine flare, no heat signature, no known design. "It bends light," said Commander Relon. "Every scan reflects back as if it's made of shadow." The Admiral frowned. "No material can do that," Reln looked uneasy, "unless..." It's using something we've never seen before, something old. Tareth turned sharply. You mean Terran? The word fell heavy. Half the officers went silent, even now after centuries. The name of Earth carried fear. The Admiral paced slowly. If this is a trick, we will crush whoever's behind it. But if it's real, if humans survived, then we face a threat that knows our arrogance. He remembered his history lessons. How the first Empire warships had hunted the last human fleets. How the final Terran broadcast had ended with a promise. We will return. And now it seemed they had far away. On the outer edge of the same system, a mining station drifted in silence, its workers half asleep in the graveyard shift. Then the lights dimmed. One of the miners looked up. Power surge? He muttered. The console beside him blinked with strange symbols, ancient letters forming words no imperial system should know. Humanity endures. Before anyone could react, the station's comms burst with static. Every monitor flashed the same blue emblem, a stylized Earth surrounded by a burning star. The miners stared in shock. No one had seen that symbol in generations. Are we being hacked? The supervisor shouted, but the systems didn't respond. They simply replayed an old voice, calm and strong. If you serve the Empire, you serve your masters, not your people. Then the message ended, and everything returned to normal except for one thing. The Empire's network had recorded nothing. No trace, no source, no signal back in the capital. Panic spread quietly among the admirals. The Emperor himself ordered a full-scale investigation. Spies, scientists, and hunters were dispatched across the sectors, but none found anything. Some claimed the ghost ship was a rebel trick. Others whispered that it was vengeance from the dead. Only Tareth remained silent because deep down, he knew something the others refused to see. The signal's encryption was not imperial, it was human. And it wasn't just a ghost, it was a test. As the Empire scrambled, a small hidden fleet drifted beyond the galactic rim. Their ships bore the markings of a forgotten world. At the center sat a vessel cloaked in black light, the same ghost ship the Empire had seen. Inside, human officers watched the chaos unfold through holographic feeds. A woman in command uniform smiled faintly. Phase 1 complete, she said.
The Empire knows we exist, a younger officer frowned. They'll come for us now. She nodded.
Yes, they will, she replied calmly. But this time, we are ready. The Empire thought it ruled the stars. But the stars remembered their true masters. And in the silence between galaxies, humanity had waited long enough. The Imperial Armada gathered near the border world of Velkar. Hundreds of warships floated in formation, their metallic hulls glowing under the light of two suns. Admiral Tareth stood on the bridge of his flagship, obsidian crown staring at the vast fleet he commanded. Each ship was a weapon of terror, forged to remind every world of the Empire's strength. But tonight the fleet was uneasy. They were not preparing for invasion, they were preparing for something unseen. A ghost that had humiliated them. A single human ship that had vanished before their eyes. Admiral, said the comms officer, long-range sensors detect an anomaly. Bearing 019. The same words again. Anomaly on the radar. The bridge went silent. Tareth clenched his jaw. Hold formation, he ordered. No fire until confirmed. The radar blip flickered. Faint then bright, moving faster than light could trace. It stopped right in the center of the fleet. Impossible, someone whispered. Then alarms screamed on the holographic map. Ships began disappearing one by one. Not destroyed, erased, report. Tareth shouted, but no one could answer. Every time they tried to track the signal, it shifted, bending their systems like clay. Outside the viewport, space rippled. And there it was again, the ghost ship, black and gleaming, floating silently among the Empire's warships. No weapons visible, no shields glowing. But every Imperial system was dying around it. Missiles launched toward the target. They flew straight through it. The ship shimmered like smoke. And then the missiles turned, curving back toward the fleet that fired them. Explosions tore through the formation. The Empire's mighty fleet began to burn. Deactivate all targeting systems. Tareth barked, but it was too late. The ghost ship was rewriting their commands, hijacking their weapons for every system it touched. A message appeared on the screens. You took our world. Now we take your stars. The ship began to move. Not fast, but in a way no Imperial scientist could understand. It flickered from one position to another, bending the space around it. Like it didn't fly, it chose where to exist. Open communications, Tereth said, desperate. A voice answered through the static. It was calm, steady, human. Admiral Tereth of the Empire, your fleet's conquered worlds for pride. Now you stand before the ghost of your sins. Tereth stepped forward. This is treason, he said coldly. You're speaking to the empire that destroyed humanity. The voice replied, Yes, Admiral. And that's why we're still here. The ghost ship released a pulse of blue light. Every imperial ship went dark. Engines, shields, weapons, all offline. The stars reflected across the silent wrecks. And in the center, the ghost ship vanished once again, leaving only echoes when power returned minutes later. Half the fleet was gone. No wreckage, no debris, no escape pods, just emptiness. Tereth looked around at the stunned officers. What did it take? He whispered. Lyra? The same officer from Vigilant Spear, now reassigned, replied softly. It didn't take anything, sir. It left a message. The Admiral turned to the holodisplay. One sentence glowed across every screen in Terran script. This was mercy, far beyond the Empire's borders. In the hidden human fleet, Commander Alice watched the reports come in. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned with old anger. They'll call it a terrorist attack, she said. Her second-in-command nodded. But they'll know it wasn't. Alice leaned forward, voice low and cold. Prepare Phase 2, she said. If the Empire wants ghosts, we'll give them a haunting they'll never forget. The ghost ship had vanished again. But across the stars, the Empire began to whisper the same fearful words. The humans are back. The Empire had never known fear, but now it was drowning in it. After the destruction of the Velkar Armada, whispers spread faster than light. They said the humans had returned, and they had brought ghosts with them. Admiral Tereth was summoned to the Imperial throne world. The capital shone like a city of suns, towers of glass piercing the clouds inside. The Emperor waited, cold eyes burning with silent rage. Explain, he said, his voice sharper than steel. Tereth stood tall, though his heart was heavy. Sire, the ghost ship uses technology we cannot identify. It does not attack with weapons, it rewrites our systems. It bends our sensors, it plays with the laws of physics. The Emperor leaned forward. And you expect me to believe in fairy tales? The Admiral swallowed hard. With respect, my lord, fairy tales don't erase half a fleet. Silence filled the hall. Then the Emperor spoke again. Then we will fight ghosts with shadows. He waved his hand, and a group of cloaked scientists stepped forward. They were from the secret division known as Oblivion Corps, a project buried under centuries of lies. They had studied what little human technology the Empire hadn't destroyed. Now their knowledge would become a weapon. Weeks passed. The Empire began building a new kind of ship, one that could exist between dimensions. Half real, half hidden, they called it Project Eclipse, a fleet of invisible hunters designed to destroy the ghost ship. On the other side of the galaxy, in the hidden Terran base, Commander Alice watched the transmissions. They're trying to copy us, said her engineer, smiling grimly. Let them try, Alice replied. Shadow can't mimic what it doesn't understand. But she knew the truth. The Empire's reach was vast, and its hate deeper still. If Project Eclipse succeeded, it could end the reborn Terran fleet before the war truly began. Back in Imperial space, strange experiments began. Entire moons turned into test sites, engines tore open rifts in the void. Some ships vanished forever, others returned twisted. Their crews broken, still the Empire continued. They would not be humiliated again. During one test, an Eclipse prototype detected something in the dark. A pulse, soft, rhythmic like a heartbeat. The captain smiled. Found you, he whispered. They armed their new weapon, a singularity cannon meant to tear apart reality itself. But before they could fire, the lights dimmed, the radar flickered, and a voice whispered across their comms. You built shadows to fight ghosts. Now see what true ghosts can do. The ghost ship appeared behind them. Silent and calm, its hull glowed faintly blue as before. Then for the first time it transmitted an image, a projection of Earth, blue and whole, rising above the void. The Imperial captain froze. It can't be, he whispered. The image shifted, showing human children, cities, oceans, and stars. Then the message changed. We remember what you took. We remember what we lost, and now we take it back. A flash of light consumed the Eclipse prototype. When it cleared, only debris drifted where the ship had been. Back in the Empire's capital, Alarms began to wail. Every research station linked to Project Eclipse went offline, files corrupted, data erased. It was as if someone had reached into their core systems and simply deleted them. Tareth stood in the war room, watching as red alerts spread across the map. He exhaled slowly. "They're not fighting for power," he said quietly. "They're fighting for memory." Across the galaxy, Commander Alice received new orders. The Ghost Fleet was to reveal itself to the Empire, just enough to be seen. To make them understand that humanity wasn't a rumor anymore. It was judgment. She looked out at the stars and whispered, "Phase 3 begins." The war between the Empire and the ghosts of humanity had only just begun, and in the darkness between stars, history itself trembled. The stars burned quietly above the edge of known space. In that silence, something vast awakened, humanity's final secret, hidden for centuries beyond the Empire's reach. A fleet unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Ghost Fleet, hundreds of ships cloaked in bending light, each moving as if the void itself obeyed them. They were not built for conquest, but for remembrance. Each vessel carried the ashes of a fallen world, a name carved into its hull: Earth, Mars, Titan, Europa. Luna, forgotten places reborn as vengeance. Commander Alice stood on the bridge of the Eidolon, the flagship of the Ghost Fleet. Her eyes reflected the pale glow of distant suns. "Today," she said quietly, "the Empire will remember who we are." In the imperial capital, panic turned into fury. Every shipyard worked without rest. Every planet armed itself for war. The Emperor appeared before his people, his voice echoing through every channel. "These ghosts threaten our peace, our pride, our future," he declared. "But we will remind them that the Empire bows to no one." Across the throne world, massive fleets launched into the void. Thousands of ships, billions of lives. The Empire had never faced an enemy it could not see. Until now, Admiral Tareth stood among them. His thoughts heavy. He had seen the ghost ship, had heard its voice, and he knew deep down, this war was already lost. At the edge of the system, the two armadas met. No battle cries. No warnings, just silence. Then the void itself shimmered. The Ghost Fleet appeared in full. Their ships reflected no light, no signal, no sound. Only their presence felt, an impossible weight pressing on reality. The Empire fired first, a storm of plasma missiles, and light tore across the darkness, but the human ships didn't move. The weapons passed through illusions, through echoes, until the fleet vanished again. Then they struck from every shadow. Blue light flared. Imperial cruisers shattered as if torn by invisible hands. Engines died. Systems screamed. The Ghost Fleet moved like thought, faster than any machine could track. In the chaos, Admiral Tareth's ship, Obsidian Crown, found itself face to face with the Eidolon. He stared at the black hull through the viewport. It looked alive, breathing, pulsing. Then his comms activated. Alice's voice came through, calm as the void. "Admiral Tareth," she said, "once your empire erased our worlds, our history, our names. But you could not erase the human spirit." He closed his eyes. "You seek revenge," he said softly. Alice replied, "No, Admiral. We seek remembrance." Her words echoed through every channel, across every fleet, human and imperial, and for a moment, the fighting stopped, because even the machines felt the weight of her voice. Then, without warning, the Eidolon sent out a wave of blue energy. It spread across the system like dawn. Every imperial ship froze, every weapon went dark. The Ghost Fleet surrounded them, not to destroy, but to disable. In the silence that followed, Alice spoke once more. "Humanity does not rule through fear," she said. "We endure, we rebuild, we rise." Her words carried across the Empire, reaching every colony, every outpost. People began to whisper again, not about ghosts, but about hope on the imperial capital. The Emperor watched as his fleets went silent. The stars outside flickered, and for the first time in his life he felt small. A hologram appeared before him, Alice standing tall. "Your empire was built on the ashes of humanity," she said. "Now, humanity builds on the ruins of your pride." She turned and walked away. Behind her, the stars flared bright. The Ghost Fleet began to vanish, one by one, fading into the deep black. No explosions, no celebration, just peace. Weeks later, the Empire surrendered. Not by force, but by silence. Worlds once loyal to the Emperor now whispered a different name: humanity. They remembered Earth, they remembered courage. They remembered what it meant to fight for something real. Admiral Tareth retired quietly. He often looked at the stars and wondered if the ghosts still watched. He hoped they did. And somewhere, beyond the edge of the galaxy, the ghost fleet drifted between stars, unseen but eternal, guardians of memory, children of the forgotten world. And their message echoed forever through the void. We were never gone. We were waiting. We are humanity.